Everyone, so there's something that I really find amazing, year after year about training is that even if you trained for many years, and in my case, like over a decade, and possibly, if you've trained even multiple decades, there's still always something that you can learn, like more that you can learn about your body and knowledge that you can gain about your body. And the greatest thing is that when you apply this knowledge, it will make new development in your body, new adaptations, like years, like you've been training for 10 years straight and you think, that's it, I've figured out everything and these are the gains that I can make. But no, you apply something completely new that you didn't know even that was there, and suddenly you start to see amazing development. In my case especially, because I've done training very seriously for such a long time, to encounter something that not only makes a little bit of change, of course I make progress every year, but to find something that makes absolute, like, substantial results in my body like that, I find it rare nowadays. Especially, there's been these different points in my training history that, when I find a new method or a new system, it always starts to make very big gains. One of the examples was even Qigong. That was, already after we had like huge amount of knowledge about training, suddenly there's an entire new realm of Eastern training methodology in the world of Qigong and Kung Fu that again caused big transformations in the body, transformed my breathing and again added completely new, let's say, dimensions to my body. So in the last 2 years, there's been two different areas in my body again that I've noticed just absolutely incredible progress, and these are my forearms and the wrist and the grip, and also my ankles, my feet specifically. And of course, going back to what are the reasons for this, you have seen that I've had these tools that I've been using in a lot of the videos. I've been making a lot of videos about them because I've been frankly just extremely excited about them because of these new gains that I've been able to make. These are not, I'm gonna first focus on that the arm area, the forearm area, and then I'm gonna talk about the ankles. But this is essentially the stuff that really helped me to make my new gains in the forearms and the wrists, and even in my grip. I have the Gada, the different clubs, Indian clubs, the steel clubs, the steel maces. I started with only one steel mace here, and this I already made the major part of my gains with just one mace. So I've just gotten a bit of excited and got myself an entire collection of stuff to really go with it, because naturally, when you get deep into some training, you want to have different type of resistance then and different type of tools to develop yourself. But just even one tool can be enough. But the development here was something that is not even only experienced by me. Once we put out the Iron King method, there was multiple people, just like about a week ago or 2 weeks ago, there was a person in our Facebook group who commented that he had made like incredible gains in his forearms by utilizing Indian clubs and the steel mace. And there's been a number of these type of comments. So when I used, the term easy, one of the reasons why I utilize it personally for myself, why I think it's easy, is that when I start to train, it's fun. It's like almost entertaining. So when something is really fun and you're excited about it and you're learning, you don't really even notice that you're doing the work. Because of course you need to, do your repetitions, you need to practice the skill and all that. But for me, like, that was just something that I was very, very much enjoying. And then suddenly, after just a few weeks, I'm already noticing a difference. Some people, notice a difference, they said like after a week, but of course you can, this is not real muscular gain, it's mostly just feel, more solid because you work those muscles and you feel a bit of like pump in there. This is the case, but like just utilizing one tool few times, even a week, and suddenly you make a whole lot of new gains that before you could not even have achieved. See, before this, I was already focusing a bit more on the forearm development, because there are also isolation exercises that you can do before I realized about about these tools. So, but if we go way back in the beginning of my training, and this is what most people actually have in their head. So when you're doing pull-ups and your rows, your bent over rows, then it means that you're already training the forearm, because you're gripping on the bar. That means that you're getting a development, and it's not wrong. You are getting development, and sometimes it can even your gripping strength will be developed to an extent. But I thought that because this happens, well, I don't need any separate training for my grip or my forearms. But this is the common idea that many people have, which is why they don't specifically maybe focus on the extremities. Same way with the ankles. If you're doing squats or something, oh, I am still training my calves to an extent, and if I just do the basic calf raises, then that's going to be enough. But for me, where I'm always trying to more or less like measure my progress. I don't measure like numbers or something like this, but I can see my progress doing certain movements, and especially doing MMA and the martial arts. Because in martial arts, especially if you're doing mixed martial arts and you have the grappling, you also have the wrestling, this is something where the grip is heavily involved. And for me, my grip used to get really, really tired every time I was doing grappling and this type of wrestling or something where I needed to grip onto other people, and it was clearly like a little bit slightly weaker part. And I always remember, that I had like my endurance in my grip just wasn't very good, and it felt like uncomfortable after a while if I needed to hold on to something for a very long time. And now with these clubs, I specifically train endurance also, strength endurance. That is something that was one of the keys why I made such a good development. Because again, with the clubs, there's no rule that, okay, you do your 10 reps or even just the 20 reps or something, and that's it, then you're like good. No, like you will be doing these movements, even hundreds of repetitions, but at least to the point where you really get yourself, we really are causing this big muscular burn and fatigue. You can do hundreds of repetitions like this way, and usually you start to feel the effects already after a few repetitions. So yesterday, for example, I did a lot of training with these clubs and the bases, so I'm still feeling them and there's some fatigue. But this gives an opportunity to drill so deep into the muscles, and one of the reasons why that is also possible, because like I said, the training is actually quite fun and you can just keep on doing it, and sometimes even without noticing it, like suddenly your forearms are already burning. But going back to the wrestling and the grappling, there was another tool as well, like I have here in the corner. The sunlight is giving me a bit of difficulties to see. There it is, the sandbag is there in the corner. So that is another tool that I've utilized that had actually given me grip gains and even forearm gains, because you have to grip the back, and there's different ways that you can grip it. Like here, this type of a squeezing strength. This is exactly the kind of grip that I utilize in wrestling, for example. So cable grip, like this way. And like, you can get such a tight grip with this, and you can train that separately, so you basically your forearms or the palms will become almost like inseparable. And when you have a solid grip like that and you get hold of someone, that's like the foundation for you to start actually throwing people also down and taking people down. Of course, you need to have the skill for that. There is MMA and all this. It's not with your strength you need to scale, but you also, it is very beneficial to have more strength, especially this type of transferable strength. And one maybe where I could also say that it's a sign that I've gained more strength is that, for example, our coach in the MMA, who was a former UFC fighter, Nordin Taleb, he said multiple times that I feel very strong when we're doing this type of training. And he's like 15 kilos heavier than I am, pure muscle, by the way. Like, the guy is like solid, and I feel that he's incredibly strong. So to him tell me that I feel strong, that was like it feels good because it's something that I also don't expect. Because when you're wrestling, of course, he's able to, most of the time, he's able to, dominate me quite well because of his skill and also the size difference. But so to hear this, like for me, that means that I probably gain some strength, and the type of training that I'm doing is also something that transfers. There's other examples as well. I was just a little while ago, I had one friend here. I was like doing arm wrestling. I never practiced arm wrestling, and this guy said that he's sometimes done it, and usually when he is wrestling against some people, like he's really strong in it. And when we did with him, like yes, I was able to beat him, and he also said that like he could feel that there's some strength in the arm. So these are just things that have come up, through my life, and I don't. Just like this kind of signs that there's something happening. Of course, I can know this myself. Like I said, I may have better endurance. Another thing that I was able to do very recently was a strict bar muscle up, something that I have not done in a long time. So I'm showing this because you need to grab the bar with the bent arm grip to do this type of strict, so you can get on top of the bar and then press yourself up. So I have not done that skill in years. And I was just blown away. I was super happy because, muscle ups, I like the skill, but it's not like, it hasn't been my priority in a long time. And the ring muscle ups for me are very easy because you can hold the false grip, but the bar is much more difficult to hold. And now that I was able to hold that and do the strict muscle up after many years of not practicing it, I think that was also significant. So the iron working method, if I talk about the wrist and the forearm development, it is not I think one of the reasons why it's so powerful for it is that I'm not just using these tools over here, or not just even the sandbag, but there is isolation training also for the forearm and for these flexion movements. For example, there are drills with the gymnastic rings where you're training this type of bent arm gripping strength. Also exercises with even with the barbell and even with this one, even with the clubs, there are isolation exercises. So some people, when they get to this type of training and they're like, okay, functional training, no isolation. I've never had this kind of division in my training. I think actually isolation training, when done correctly, is absolutely foundational, and it should be used. There are many uses for it, but that's not the subject of this video. I could go into very long explanations about that. But yeah, the point was that iron king method, we incorporate also isolation training for the forearm. So we're really taking everything out of those muscles, and it makes unbelievable difference, and people truly, I think, don't understand the impact that it has. But even, imagine you're training, like this happens for many people. They're trying to develop their back muscles, like pulling with the bent or even doing deadlift. And then if they don't use the wraps or the straps, they're not able to do the exercise enough so they would fully work their back muscles. So the grip is completely limiting them because the grip gets so much earlier tired than the pulling muscles. So now, for example, when I'm training the back or something, my grip, again, that's one of the signs. I can actually just keep on doing the rows and stuff until my back is really tired. I don't have to stop midway somewhere because my grip is getting tired. And so a lot of people find that the solution is, let's just use wraps, in which case your grip will become just even weaker. My suggestion is that you start to really develop it, because not only will you then be able to develop your body better, your grip doesn't get so tired, but you get all these functional benefits for martial arts and also for performance in general. And also you're taking just the care of really the musculature of your wrist. You're also getting aesthetic gains, like bigger forearm muscles, defined forearm muscles. I would say that's also a big benefit. I don't undervalue the aesthetic benefits of training. It's just not something I obsess over, but I value it greatly. I enjoy looking at new gains from the mirror and posing and like looking at the development that is in there. It's fantastic. And I also know that it encourages many people. So this is just something that I really wanted to open up about, because having this type of new gains truly after many years of training, I think it's substantial. And like I already said, it's easy. In a way, it's easy. Just use the tool. That's it. You start to get new gains within like couple of weeks, within a month or something like that. That's it. And it can be fun. There's the skill element as well. I love to do the flowing movements with the clubs. It's just something that I can recommend for everyone. And it took me such a long time to figure out these tools. To figure out that they would be something to try. So I'd like that other people don't have to wait for maybe 10 years of their training before they start to use them. So this has been already quite a long explanation. I wanted to still talk about the ankle development as well. Maybe I'll put this in a separate video, who knows, because I need to check how long this has been. But the ankles is another part, and this actually, I got more inspiration to train my ankles after doing martial arts. So my grip, the MMA didn't really inspire me to train my grip. I just noticed the benefits there. But I started to also do Muay Thai in a very serious manner with a coach who has like over 400 fights and who was extremely knowledgeable. I've been to Muay Thai camp before many years ago. None of them teach what this guy is teaching about these fundamentals of Muay Thai and the different control and the stability that you're using in your ankles. It was like next level stuff. I was really blown away by this knowledge. And through that also, that was one factor. There were also other factors as well, even in the MMA. I remember like Samuli, for example, started to focus a lot on his ankles because he noticed that there was a big weaknesses in there. For me, I think because of the barefoot running, my ankles and my calves, they are quite robust, I would say. I've never had any issues with them, and I talk about this also in another video that I really like doing barefoot running. I have right now, I will show you like this. I have these barefoot shoes here, and they've just really have the free movement of the ankle completely. There's no padding or anything, and I run with the barefoot style, so with the forefoot running style, and the calf just gets, even the ankle gets plenty of work. However, this is again one of those things where in your mind you're like, well, I don't need to train it separately because of the running develops and so on. But I just found out, okay, there's still so much room for improvement, especially through these martial arts, and just wanted to have even more agility there, even more stability. And the Muay Thai really challenged my ankles. This is what I noticed because, during the kicking, let's see, maybe I can show a little bit, get a good position, but a lot of times, the idea is, even in the clinching, that you're slightly, just a little bit on your toes, just a little bit on the ball of the feet. I'm not sure if you can even see from there. And when you're kicking, for example, you step the leg and you lock it. Like this is what our coach is saying. Like you step your leg, you lock it onto the ground, the heel is in the air, and that's from where you then throw your kick. And in basically the best case scenario, like you can just keep the weight onto the front of the feet, and you can just keep on doing the kicks. So, and really hold the stability in there. And that's a huge part, like even when stepping forward, like here, keeping the weight in the front, and then you can throw punches by keeping the weight in the front position. So this is just some of the things that came there. But, through this also, I've noticed that I just have a better control in that ankle area. Because in the beginning, when I was doing this kicking stuff, it was very difficult when I was trying to do this and hold, stay on that calf area. It was very difficult, and I couldn't even properly stabilize myself in there. So after doing all this ankle training and specifically for the calves and even for the anterior side, so the tibialis muscle, the stability is much better, and I'm able to actually now control it. And even when I get fatigued and tired, because this is the fact in Muay Thai when you're doing the pad rounds, it's very high intensity, completely exhausted. And if you don't have this thing, nailed down and in your muscle memory, when you get tired, you're not going to be able to hold that sort of small, heel lift in position when you're throwing the strikes and doing the kicks. So I started to notice I was really able to hold this. But in general, my movements as well, if I need to bounce around or something like that, I feel better, I feel stronger in that heel but the ankle department. So that's a big thing. And due to this kind of demands, I started to develop more training for the soleus specifically. I started to go much deeper into the ankle training. There are different isolation drills, there are dynamic drills, there's drills for the elasticity of the ankle that use the stretch reflex. There's mobility drills, very like this, let's say, traditional isolation exercise as well, explosive drills. So there's a host of different drills, again, when you go deeper into any area of the body. And all of this, I put into the new addition, the Superior Athletic Ankles course, which is inside the Athlete Twin XX method, to really give you just a further base and for your athletic, let's say, or just for your body in general. This is not just for athletes, it's not just for martial artists, but ankles will help you, throughout this life. And so these extremities are something that I find really people often avoiding, and even, like I said, myself as well. I was really so much focused on, building from the center, building from my core and spine and the hips and the legs and the upper arms, and neglecting to an extent these extremities. But the extremities are extremely important. Like, ankles are basically the foundation for your movement. These are the first, or not the ankles specifically, but your feet are the first contact to the ground, and your feet connect to the rest of your body through the ankles. That's the first link in the chain of creating movement from your body. So focusing on that can make a huge difference in your posture as well, in your overall posture. And even in how you're doing squats or other type of lower body movements, having stronger calves has an impact on that. And the forearms, I've already developed. This is the connecting part into the objects around you. Feet connect you to the ground, the grip and your fingers and everything. This connects you to the objects around you. So these are kind of the connecting parts into the surrounding world, into the environment. So take care of them, develop them, make them as strong as possible. You have no reason to avoid training them, other than these ideas, well, I don't need them and, I can just use straps. No, like, you're missing out on a huge amount of potential from your body. So I just want you to really understand the main message here is that, you've trained for a specific amount of time, or many years, or even just a couple of years. Never get into this mindset where you cannot make any more gains, or you've seen it all. Like, there's so much stuff you can do. There are new tools you can employ. There's new exercises, new methodologies that you can also apply in your training and in your approach. And this can give you incredible new gains. So, and like, you can go years to the gym and still just not make proper gains because you're not changing anything. So once you make a little bit of a change, you can make outstanding progress again. But that's it. I hope this video gave you some new knowledge about training and maybe some encouragement and even motivation for you to keep developing your body. If you've had, that feeling that I haven't seen progress in a long time, like, try something new, change something, switch it up. I promise you're gonna see a difference in your body. It is possible. I've done it countless of times. People in my training methods and people I've coached have done it countless of time. So you can make a big change in your body. That is a fact. So I hope that you really enjoyed, and if you did, please press the like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, subscribe if you'd like to see this type of content and learn even more knowledge. I will keep on posting these videos and sharing what I know in the world of fitness. Take care, guys. Stay strong.